In this lecture, I'm going to talk about a helper class for Swing GUI environment. Helper classes are information classes that help you to set up the style for the component and containers. Helper classes in AWT GUI environment including the dimension, font, color, font matrix, and graphics. Font matrix and graphics will be mentioned in the next chapter. And so in this lecture, we focus on color, font, and some part of the dimension. The color class. You can set colors for GUI components by using the java.awt.Color class. Colors are made of red, green, and blue components, each of which is represented by a byte value that describes its intensity, ranging from 0 to 255. This is known as the RGB model. In fact, Swing and AWT environment also accept the RGB A as alpha, the 4-tupled model, and alpha is for the transparency or opacity of the color. So when you create a color 228, 100, 255, red will be 228, green will be 100, blue will be 255, you create a new color and assign it to C. Standard colors. Standard colors are constants and it is constant color object. And black, blue, cyan, and totally we have 13 different standard colors. And you can directly use this constant name as the color you want to have. Colors have 3-tuple and 4-tuple data class. So when you call a constructor, you can use 3-tuple, either floating-point number or integer number. And for floating-point number, the value should be ranging from 0 to 1.0, so 1.0 actually is the same as 255 in the integer domain. And you can use the 3-tuple constructor or 4-tuple constructor, and A is for alpha channel for transparency. And when you got a color, you can set a background for a certain container or component in your GUI environment. And you can also set a foreground, and foreground usually is the text or some labels. Methods for color object. You have equals, get alpha, get blue, get green, get red, get transparency. And then you can get color space, and then you can have the get color space to get a certain color object or color space out. Color space is the RGB model or CMYK model or hue model. And then you can also convert the color to string for the string representation. This helps the debugging. The font class. The font class has 3 major information: the name of the font, sans serif, monospace, dialog, and dialog input. And this font name actually is also called as the font family in the HTML or the CSS environment. And the style, you have plain, bold, italic, that's the style. And you also have the font size 16, 12. And when you use it, you basically put these 3 information there, and you create a certain font information. And then you can create a object with the label OK, the OK button. And then you set that OK button to have the font of such a style. Finding all available font names. You can use this graphic environment that get local graphic environment and assign it to a certain environment setting variable. E is an object containing all the information in the local graphic environment. And you use the get available font family name and assign it to a string array. And this string array contains all of the font family names in the environment you have. So you can use this to set up a list or certain option pane or something like that, so that you can browse through it and then set the new font for yourself. Common features of Swing components. The common feature for Swing components including the font, background, foreground, preferred size visible, cursor, width, height, location XY. These are from the AWT component. And also for containers, you can have add, remove, get layout, set layout. These are for the containers. And for the J components, you can have the tooltips. Tooltips is some warning or some information string show up on the button or a certain function. Or border is the style of the button border. And for detailed information, it's listed down right here. For borders, you can set a border on any object of the J component class. Swing has several types of borders. To create a titled border, use new titled border with the string. By doing this, you will have a border with a certain name on it for a certain button or component. And you can also create a line border with certain color and width, where width specifies the thickness of the line. For example, the following code displays a titled border on a panel. You have a panel, and you create a title border as the borders class, and put the name myPanel over there, and set it to the panel's border. TestSwingCommon features. We have a test program over here, and we set these different properties. Let's look at the program. The main program is right here. We create one window. Actually, it's a frame, and set the title here, and the size is 300, 150. And then we set it visible. And in the constructor, we basically have the left bottom, right bottom, center bottom. And then we have a tooltip for the right bottom. So tooltip for the right bottom when we stop moving. And then there's a titled border for 3 bottom. This is the titled border. And then we set the font family and the font line border for the panel. This is the line of the border. And then we have 2 labels for the red and orange. And set the foreground for these 2 texts as red and orange. And we set those to be larger font. And set the border of the 2 labels with the line border. And panel 2, we add these 2 labels in there and set the titled border 2 labels. And panel 1, we have a floor layout left, and we set up basically adding all of the 3 buttons in there. And the panel 1 has a titled border as well. We set the background for the left button as white, and right button with the foreground of green. And then we have a 2 row, 1 column layout for the 2 panels. Let's return to the slides. The next program we will look at is the test image icon. Java uses the java.awt.ImageIcon class to represent an icon. An icon is a fixed size picture. Typically, it is small and used to decorate component. Images are normally stored in image file. You can use new image icon file name to construct an image icon. For example, the following statements create an icon from image file us.gif for the national flag in the image directory under the current class path. So something like this. You open the flag file us.gif and create it as an image icon and assign it to a pointer icon. Let's look at the program. We have this test image icon here. Let's run it. So there are 4 different image icons. Let's look at the program. So basically, this is one JFrame. And in this JFrame, we set the size 500 width, 125 height. And then we create 4 different image icons with 4 different national flags. And then we set the layout as 1 row, 4 column. And left 2, we use label. Right 2, we use bottom. And then we add those 4 components into the frame. That's it. Let's return to the slides. Right here we have demo program splash screen. A splash screen is an image that displays while application is starting up. Usually when you start, it takes a longer time, so you need to have one splash screen to distract users' attention so that they don't wait for too long and get bored. If your program takes a long time to load, you may display a splash screen to alert the user, for example, the following command. This will display an image while program test image icon is being loaded. We have an embedded version of splash screen which can be reused. Let's look at the splash screen program. In this splash screen program, basically, we just read in a image splash.png. And we have two constructors. The first long form constructor has the millisecond specifier, so this splash.png will run for 7 seconds. And then there is a no millisecond constructor. In that one, we read in the file name and display for 2 seconds. And when we use this long form, it will create a label, and with that input file as an image, and then add that label to the center plane of the splash screen. And because the splash screen is then JWindows, JWindows is similar to JFrame, except that there's no title and no control or menu bar on it. So it's a pure image file. And then we pack it to extend the whole component with that image. And then we sleep for the 7 seconds to let it display. At the end, we close it. Let's run it. So this is the splash image.png, and it will last for 7 seconds. At the end, we show the second one, the US GIF, but that only lasts for 2 seconds. Thank you. Bye.